Ever get that feeling? You know when you're totally psyched about a webinar topic, but the actual presentation is, well, underwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
Like, amazing ingredients, terrible chef.
Right. You got all this potential.
Exactly. Well, it turns out there's a whole world behind those virtual stages, and today we're going to dive deep into the webinar platform dilemma itself.
I'm excited. This should be good.
So get ready to unlock why some webinars sing, while others, well, they just kind of zoom.
And you've handed us some pretty interesting sources today, so this is going to be fun.
Okay, so this first document jumps right into it, the Great Webinar Platform Battle. It's basic meeting tools in one corner versus those big, clunky enterprise solutions in the other.
Oh, yeah. A classic showdown.
Total David and Goliath, right?
But as this source points out, neither option really screams like amazing webinar experience, do they?
No. It's like choosing between a cramped coffee shop and a maze-like convention center.
Yep.
Not exactly ideal for a dynamic presentation.
Exactly. And that's where this source gets really interesting. It highlights this huge problem for organizations. Limited options. They're forced to choose between affordability and engagement. Stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
But they argue there has to be a better way.
Okay, a middle ground. A platform that can deliver a powerful punch without the hefty price tag or the headache of, a complicated setup. I'm all ears.
Well, get this. Enter Communique Webinars.
Ooh.
They're positioning themselves as that middle ground, a platform that's both user-friendly and feature-rich.
And they don't just claim it, they are shouting it from the rooftops. This document reads like a manifesto for how webinars should be done.
It really does.
So I'm really curious to unpack this. What makes Communique Webinars so different? What are they doing that's, shaking things up?
Well, they're not shy about their ambition, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This source really dives into their key selling point, and it's a big one.
Yeah.
Revolutionizing how webinars look and feel.
Okay, stop right there.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this revolution.
So they use this analogy. Imagine your webinar, right? Not as a dry presentation, but as a rock concert.
A rock concert, huh? That's an image I haven't conjured up for a webinar before. Okay, I'm intrigued though. What do they mean by that?
Well, they're talking about leveraging what they call cinematic visuals and branding.
Cinematic visuals
Yeah.
for a webinar.
It's about creating a more immersive and visually appealing experience for attendees. Think dynamic transitions, graphics that pop, really making it feel like a high-quality production.
So we're talking about more than just slapping a logo on a generic background and calling it a day.
Exactly. This is about creating a cohesive visual identity that actually reinforces your brand and its message.
Okay, so it's strategic. I like it.
Oh, absolutely. And get this, the document argues that this approach can actually boost a brand's credibility.
Okay, now that's fascinating. Explain that to me. How can visuals actually impact credibility?
Well, think about it. When you're scrolling through online, would you be more drawn to a webinar with a talking head for a blank wall, or one with, dynamic, engaging video, smooth transitions, interesting visuals? It just feels more credible, right?
Yeah, it's true. I know what I'd choose. It's about grabbing attention and holding it.
Precisely. And it makes sense, right? This whole cinematic approach, it cleverly taps into how we consume content today. People have shorter attention spans. We're used to high-quality video. It's about meeting those expectations, keeping your audience engaged.
So they've got style. But what about substance? Do they have the features to back up these bold claims?
Absolutely. This document highlights some pretty impressive features. One thing that stood out to me was the flexibility of their attendee console.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So you can actually rearrange the layout on the fly, even during a live webinar.
Wow, so it's not like you're stuck with one static view the entire time.
Exactly. Think of it like choosing your seats at a concert, right? You can customize your experience to what's most relevant to you.
Well, I like that.
It puts the power in the hands of the attendees.
And that ties directly back into their focus on, engagement. It's not just a presentation, it's an experience.
Right. And it doesn't stop there. They're really thinking about accessibility and global reach. One feature that really impressed me was their multilingual capabilities.
Oh, tell me more about that. I've seen some pretty clunky attempts at multilingual webinars in the past. It's not always pretty.
I hear you. Well, according to the source, Communique Webinars goes beyond, basic caption translations.
Oh, okay.
They offer a fully translated experience for attendees.
Wow, so from the interface to the materials.
Yes, exactly.
That's impressive. Imagine being able to attend a webinar in your native language, even if the speaker's, on the other side of the world. That's a game changer for global organizations, especially.
Exactly. It removes those language barriers and opens up a world of possibilities. It's a smart move that shows they're really thinking about the needs of a global audience.
So we've talked about the visuals, the flexibility, the global reach. It's impressive. But what about all that behind the scenes stuff? Like, is setting up and actually running a webinar on this platform as easy as they claim?
Right.
Because let's be honest, no one wants to wrestle with tech when they're trying to deliver a killer presentation.
Absolutely. And it seems like Communique Webinars gets that.
Yeah.
They're all about streamlining that entire process.
Okay.
In fact, this source claims that you can actually set up a webinar on their platform in under 3 minutes.
Wait, 3 minutes? That's faster than my morning coffee.
Right. And if you need to create a similar event, you could just clone an existing template in like seconds.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
It really highlights their focus on, removing any obstacles and making the platform incredibly user-friendly. They even have like a dedicated green room for presenters to prepare before going live.
Hold on, a green room, like backstage at a talk show. For a webinar, okay, I have to know more. Tell me everything.
I know, right? It's a cool touch. It's all about creating like a calm and professional experience for presenters. A space to do those last-minute checks, go over notes, maybe even have a sip of water before showtime.
It's those little details that can make a world of difference, especially when you're dealing with those pre-show jitters. Speaking of which, what about those inevitable moments when, despite our best efforts, we fumble a line or there's like an awkward silence? We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
So do they offer a safety net for those moments?
Don't worry. They've thought of that, too. They actually have a built-in editing suite, which is something you don't see every day in a webinar platform.
Okay, now that something I haven't seen before, tell me everything. What kind of editing are we talking about here?
It's like having a full production team at your fingertips, but without the cost or like the complexity.
Right.
The source describes the ability to edit out those like awkward pauses, replace slides, fine-tune the timing, adjust the audio, even merge different recordings together, all within the platform.
Wow. That's incredible. That's a game changer, especially for, smaller businesses or organizations that might not have the budget for dedicated video editing software or, professionals. This levels the playing field in a big way.
Exactly. It gives everyone access to powerful editing tools, making, a professional grade production achievable for anyone. And of course, they emphasize how easy it is to export the final product.
Yeah.
It's all about efficiency and making life easier for the user.
So they've tackled the visual experience, the back-end functionality, even those like pre-show jitters. But the big question is, do they deliver? Do these features actually live up to the hype in the real world?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
While the source lays out a compelling case, I think we'd need to look at some user reviews, case studies to really see how it performs, in the wild.
Yeah, see how it measures up, for sure. Well, one thing that stood out to me in this document was this idea that, the medium is the message.
Oh, yes. Such a powerful concept and so relevant here.
It is. It really is.
It's that idea that the way you deliver your message is just as important as the message itself.
Total.
The platform, the experience, the engagement, it all matters.
I mean, it's like the difference between like reading a handwritten letter and receiving a text message, right? Like the content might be the same, but the impact is completely different.
Exactly. And I think Communique Webinars understands this. They're not just selling a platform. They're selling a new way of thinking about webinars. And it's a bold move. It's challenging the status quo and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in this space.
It's definitely a fascinating approach. So as we wrap up our deep dive today, is Communique Webinars the rockstar platform they claim to be?
It's too early to say for sure.
Yeah.
But they're definitely onto something. They seem to be hitting all the right notes when it comes to, innovation, user experience, and affordability.
It'll be interesting to see how they evolve and what impact they have on, the future of webinars. But I think for me, the biggest takeaway is that the platform itself can really make or break a webinar experience.
I couldn't agree more.
It's time to start thinking, beyond just basic webinars and really unlock their full potential.
Absolutely.
So the next time you're planning or even attending a webinar, just remember it's about more than just the content. Ask yourself, is the platform working with the message or against it? Food for thought, wouldn't you say?